Sports cards and we live now. Jeremy Lee in the building and every guest that you ever needed. Sports cards after hours keep the hobby heated. Updates, hobby talk like you never seen it. Sports cards live and none could ever beat it. Sports cards is a lifestyle. Sports cards and we live now. Welcome to another episode of Sports Cards Live with your host, Jeremy Lee.
Well, all right. That didn't seem to be working. So let's just get into the episode. Welcome, everybody, to episode number 159 of Sports Cards Live. It is Thursday night, November the 3rd, 2022. My name is Jeremy Lee. I do want to thank Mark Neiman from Ultimate Pastime for joining us last time on the show. Want to let everybody know that this Saturday on Sports Cards Live, our guest will be Topps artist Andy Friedman. Very excited to have Andy on the show this Saturday. This Sunday on Collectible Live, our guest will be Mark Mader. He's an awesome collector. Excited to have him on. That'll be this Sunday on Collectible Live. And then on Tuesday, another episode of Collectible Live with Scott Roskind. He is the Chief Visionary Officer of Beckett. He will be joining Collectible Live next Tuesday. Next weekend, not this one coming up, but the weekend after, no episodes, as I will be at the Sport Card Expo, which is what we are all here to talk about today. Couple of announcements. I do want to shout out, as I do, the Center Stage app. Download the app in the App Store for quick comps. When you're at a card show, you're pricing out cards for sale on any platform. The app is continuously improving, so please join me in supporting the great team they have there and the innovation that they're undertaking. I also want to shout out Leighton Sheldon and Just Collect will be joining Sports Cards Live for the next couple of months for a new segment we'll be having. Looking forward to that. They'll be debuting on Saturday night. Also want to announce that Whatnot is back as a sponsor of the show. Happy to have Whatnot back into the fold with Sports Cards Live. We will be starting that one off on Saturday as well. Tag Grading, of course, going to shout out Tag Grading. We will be accepting on-site submissions at the Toronto Expo next weekend, as well as showcasing our technology at our booth. So be sure to come out and check it out. Toronto Expo. Speaking of the Expo, Thursday night, next Thursday, November the 10th, we will have the traditional, the regular, the usual Thursday night dinner at Jack Astor's. Come on out for drinks, for some food. It's going to be a lot of fun. Nice networking session to kick off the expo. I want to thank all of our loyal viewers and listeners. We did hit 5,000 subscribers on YouTube about a month ago. Thank you to everyone for that. If you're not yet subscribed, take a moment and do so. As always, your comments, your questions are in play. Let's get to it. Let's bring out the panel. Let's bring out Steve Menzie. We're going to bring out Mikey Singer, and we've got Ameet Acharya. This is the panel, guys. Steve, how are you? Steve does own the Sport Card Expo. Steve, how you doing tonight?
Great, Jeremy. Always great to be here. This is I'm getting excited. If I look tired, I am. But only 8 more sleeps, I think it is. I lost count.
Always good to have you. We've made it. This has been a tradition having you on before the expo to give everybody a bit of a heads up on what's going on, what we can expect. Mikey Singer. Mikey works with Steve on the expo. Mikey, how are you, buddy?
Great. Awesome to be here. As you know, I watch and comment a lot, so it's fun to actually be on.
Is this your first time on with me?
No, I think the second time. Steve usually drags me with interviews. That way he can get me to do a lot of the talking, which I do love to do.
Good to have you. I think I recently called you the chief of staff. I had to come up with something to call you, but you're an event organizer, and you've been Steve's right-hand man now for a couple of years, as I understand it. So great to have you. And then last but certainly not least, my good buddy Ameet Acharya, Cardboard Culture. What's going on, Ameet?
Not much, man. I'm super excited to be here, and I have to make a comment. Steve, if this is you're looking tired, I hope I look half as good as you look tired. And Mikey, if you're ever for a loss of words, I'll be surprised. I'm excited to be here. Thank you for bringing me on. It's been a while. So,
well, you're a fixture on these episodes too. You and I have been doing kind of these pre-expo preview shows now for a couple of years, and we've been setting up beside each other at the expo for 10 years or so. And you're gonna be set up as a vendor as usual. We'll be beside each other in the 730s in that area at the show, close to upper deck, which will be towards the back where they always are. So good to have you. We're gonna talk about what's going on. I see some people in the chat already, some Expo regulars. If anyone out there, if you're watching on Facebook right now, better for you to go to YouTube, if you want to stay on Facebook, also please go to facebook.com/StreamYard and click that big blue button so that it doesn't look like Facebook user and I'll actually know who you are. But we have a Facebook user, says the Expo is 1 week away. Another one is telling us good evening. Yes, it would be nice to know who you were. StreamYard.com/Facebook. Just do that. Says, should bring my Jeremy Lee signed sticker to the Expo. Here we go. Bobby Burrell in the house. Bobby, what's going on? Expo is life. I mean, Expo is life, right? Expo is life. It's funny because, Ameet and I will tell you all, the Expo ends on Sunday and we start counting down the days until the next Expo, like literally. And now we're a week away. This might be the best time of year, are these days leading up to Expo, and we just are so excited. Hey, Ameet?
It is. It's card Christmas. It's card Christmas.
We have Mike Double V Cards says looking forward to Friday the Expo and the Tag booth. Yeah, Tag will be making its Canadian debut, so you can check it out. Collector's Dream, what's going on? Brian Palmer in the house. He's an Expo regular. We got Ralphie, the Stamatis in the house. What's going on, buddy? Glad to see you. Mike V says, am I at my own booth with Tag or I'll be at both. I will have my own booth with my good buddy Sam Genova helping me out, but I'll also be kind of checking out the Tag booth and taking people over there. James says that was me. James, there you are. Good to see. Billy Celio from Upper Deck, brand manager in the house. This question for me: will you be renting a limousine to pick me up?
A ladder, just for you, buddy. A ladder.
We got Scott Cause in the house. Scott also with Magpie, I believe, still. Steve, what plans do you have to make sure everyone knows about the vendors in Hall 4? So we'll get to that, Scott. Scott's cards with a hardball. No softball. No softballs for Scott. Contender Sports on Instagram. Yeah, let's go. All right. Well, welcome to everybody who is here so far. Looking forward to having more of you. James Hummel, can we give our booth number? Yeah, throw your booth numbers into the chat for sure. Please do.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Well, listen, I mean, let's get into it. And one of the topics that we're obviously going to be discussing is kind of like what's new, what's changed, how has the Expo evolved? And I think, Steve, one of the biggest differences is that it has expanded into Hall 4. And why don't you talk a little bit about that and even address what Scott was talking about?
Well, yeah, and Scott, who I misspelled his name the first time around, so I fixed that. The Z is back in. So yeah, and Jeremy, you missed the last one, so you missed the second big. What until now had been the biggest, but we're gonna usurp that with this next one. Yeah, it's been Hall 5 has been where it's been where the Expo has been since its inception. I think with one exception in the mid 2010s, like 2014, 15, and just before COVID, I was actually looking for an excuse to try and go into a different hall because of the additional things I wanted to do. And COVID kind of gave me, among other things, an opportunity to do that, quote unquote. So it's obviously changed a lot. The first show back was in a completely different hall. And, to Scott's point and a lot of the other guys that have brought up, there was a secondary hall in last fall. And it wasn't successful for some for a number of reasons. I'll speak to some of those later, but without getting too into the weeds, we're very aware of that. It's going to be very different this time. And then June brought us into another hall still. So that was difficult. It was great, again, in some ways, because I was able to get everybody into one hall. And now November, we're back in the old hall, which a lot of people were excited about, but we don't fit in the old hall. Plus, they've put in a food court that cost me about 35 booths. So we've had to reconfigure even that, and everybody knows how much the hobby has grown, how much individual dealers have grown, how many more companies there are in the space. So that's been a big part of it, is just the immigration or the entrance of new players into this space is probably the biggest driver. But that's where a lot of the excitement is, not only from the endemic companies, but from a lot of the brands that have grown, and then a lot of the new collectors and old collectors that have come back into it.
Yeah, Hall 5 is like home to me. I love Hall 5. And you mentioned I didn't come to the Expo in June because I got sick the day before and had to cancel my trip. I was so disappointed. And it's like, I think it's the only expo I've missed in about 17 plus years. So I'm happy to be coming back. I'm happy it's back in Hall 5, which again, we're comfortable, it's familiar to us. But as you said, I guess we as a hobby, we've outgrown Hall 5. So you're expanding into Hall 4. Maybe Mikey, can you speak a little bit to how are the people in Hall 4 going to be, because as Steve just mentioned, a year ago in November, we had some people kind of in this other area, and I heard some people say that, well, no one knows we're here. So what's the plan this time to make sure people know that there is additional setup in Hall 4?
Well, I think when you look at the hall and the layouts, they're far different than they were in last November. So the halls felt disjointed. We had the hallways not really connected. It was hard to find. This year, our main stage, which is going to be a big draw, our autograph guests, which, as you know, is our best that we've ever had, are going to be taking place in Hall 4. So that already draws people in. We've also got some great features going on there, like the brand new Motorsports Pavilion, which we'll get more into. And then also a big thing that we're doing this year is we're relaunching the Sport Card and Memorabilia app. We'll be sending that out very soon to all our attendees to make sure they get on the app. And we've sent out a form to all vendors. So any vendors who are watching out there, if you haven't filled out that form to update your booth on the app, please do so. Looking at Jeremy Lee and Ameet right now because I know you haven't. But that's going to be really important. That's a lot of how we're going to send announcements, how we're going to communicate with them, how we're going to send them to different areas. We're doing some giveaways. So last year we started doing some really kid-centric giveaways. We're noticing a lot more kids coming in with their parents to the show. It's become a far more of a family experience. I know just from people in my area, I actually have packs that I put together for some of the neighborhood kids, my commons and some lower end rookies. But yeah, so we're really going to communicate with people through the app. We're also going to have, obviously, physical people who will help direct down. And the show itself is really connected. So if you're in Hall 5 and you know that hall that we line everyone up on, that's all now part of the show. Hall 4 is part of the show. So it's one seamless event. It'll just be in just a bigger space. And that's a testament to how much the show has grown. It's now become one of Toronto's premier events, let alone just for the hobby, just in general. So it's really cool to be part of.
That's awesome. And I think one of the things, I know I'm going to do this, and I'm sure Ameet will too, because we all want to see this show continue to thrive and grow along with the hobby itself. But, I'm just thinking to myself, people are going to come to the booth and, I'm not, when they come up, I'm not going to say to them, hey, go to Hall 4. But after I do a deal with them, I'll be like, hey, make sure you go check out Hall 4 because there are additional dealers there and vendors. So I'm going to commit to doing that to help out the overall show because I want to see this thing grow. Ameet, you're on board, right? We'll remember. I think that's one thing that any vendor who's watching as well. Let's collectively help make sure that people are going over there. I think by the sounds of it, it's going to be better than it was a year ago by what Steve and Mikey are saying. And I'm assuming there's going to be good signage and all that, because obviously you guys learned some things from a year ago. So anything else you'd like to add to that, Steve?
Yeah, I mean, the physical layout is one. It's much more conducive to it. We're promoting it a whole lot more and better. Will be another big part. In addition to what Mikey touched on, I mean, there are some other things that are going on. I literally have a line item in my budget this time for giveaways. Like I'll be, the first couple of days I'll be buying cases to do giveaways throughout the show, and we'll do those kind of wherever we want to draw traffic to. So there'll be a lot more awareness. The signage is much better, and there's some other really cool things happening. The whole show is activated better. You'll see from the floor plan. I mean, a couple of other, there's a tabletop hockey tournament that'll be along the way. Mikey's done a great job, and this is, right in his wheelhouse in curating some really great content for the stage. And there are a lot more influencers. So there's a lot more people that are walking around as well, shooting the entire event and promoting it. And it's a lot easier for people to do their own Instagram hits and so on, or their TikTok stuff from wherever they are throughout the show. So I think there'll be a lot more of that organically. Plus, we'll be pushing it and promoting it.
Well, what I love about that is that for people who aren't coming to the show, they can see what's going on through the lens of some of these influencers. Let's call them YouTubers, Instagrammers, wherever they are, sharing the footage. And what that does is it helps to generate buzz, and it helps to get people to say, hey, I'm going to go next time. And it just really grows and grows. And I just want to ask Steve, this is kind of off the cuff, but is my guy Ray Schulte going to be at the show?
I don't know. I emailed with him today. He was supposed to be there in June. I don't mind throwing Ray under the bus on this one, but he left his place in Arizona. He had to go through LA, and as he was pre-clearing customs in LA, he realized his passport was expired, so he didn't make it in June. He sent me a joke today with a picture of his passport. He's renewed now until 2032 or something, but not sure if he's going to be on the ground or not.
Well, Ray Schulte on Instagram is Collectible Media, does a great job promoting all the shows around North America, and I know you're buddies with him, as am I. He's a great guy, and I hope he'll be there. It'd be great to see him. Before we go on, a couple comments. Robert Young writes, Jeremy, was great meeting. Yeah, great to meet you as well, Robert, in Montreal. I was at the Montreal, what's known as the Anti-Expo. And that's a whole story in and of itself. But I was there last weekend. I had a great time, thanks to Andre and Patrick and the rest of the organizers of that show for throwing what was a great Montreal card show. I think that's going to grow and grow. So thank you. Robert says, I love that. Yeah, this gentleman purchased a tag graded McDavid Opeachy rookie card from me. So thank you, Robert, and great to see you here in the chat. Jay-Z, our guy Jay-Z, good evening, good to see you. Are you coming to Expo, Jay-Z? Jay-Z's out in BC. I hope you're coming. We have another Facebook users. Yes, we will see you guys on Wednesday. Bobby Burrell says, I like this. Lick your heels 5 times together for Hall 5 and repeat after me. There's no place like home. He's right. There's no call Hall 5. I'm so happy we're back in Hall 5.
Yeah.
At least that's the I guess where I'm going to be at the show. Gross Bros says, are there any special guest panels at the expo? There are. We will get to that shortly, Gross Bros, I promise you. And this Facebook user wants to know, are you expecting more U.S. citizens attending this show than 6 months ago? So I'm going to put this over to you, Steve, and I'm going to preface it by saying, I mean, the U.S. dollar is so strong compared to the Canadian dollar right now, compared to 6 months ago. I'm expecting there to be. What are you hearing, Steve?
100%. I mean, between the dollar and the vaccine mandate going away, it's going to be I think a U.S. show in a lot of all the guys and collectors that have come in the past, plus a lot more new ones. And one of the great things that the COVID did was through the virtual shows, we exposed the brand to a lot more people. And then everyone's been show hungry post COVID. So I expect a ton. And there's more U.S. dealer as well. Even guys like Jose Canseco, who couldn't come because of the vaccine thing, he's coming now. And I always have to speak to the obvious irony of Jose not wanting to get vaccinated, but we'll be glad to have him there. He's a good guy, a great guest.
One thing that really stuck out to me this time, and I'm not a person who goes to the expo in order to go to the autographed guests. I really never go back there because I'm kind of tied down to my booth. I'm having a good time there. It's just not my thing. But when you look at the autographed guest lineup for this show, it is freaking amazing. Like, I am blown away by just the breadth and the select. I'm looking at it. I'll share my screen in a second and we can talk about it. But the autographed guest lineup, it's the best I've ever seen. The National gets 150 or so of top line players and ex retired athletes and more. So this is like an amazing lineup. I don't know how else to share my excitement for the lineup. Should we take a look at that now?
Sure. Yeah, let's do it. It is. It's a great draw, and everyone's commented to that effect. So. All
right. So, and then after that, Ameet, I want to talk to you. I wanted you to talk a bit about Americans coming up. But so here's the list. Now it's pretty small here, so I'm going to blow this up a bit so we can all have a look at it. So let's see.
While you're doing that, Jeremy, I have to say, for the first time in my lifetime going to the expo, I kind of regret being a dealer because there is 5 or 6 guests I would love to go see myself. I just know it's not possible. But
I'm with you. I you know what? I would too, but still being in my booth is still more important to me. But I mean, listen, we can go through these. There's a lot here. But I'm going to share with you guys who jumps out at me. Mm-hmm. What jumps out at me, and I'll kind of go through them. Bobby Hull signs a lot. The Casa Slapshot is cool. Kirk McLean, very popular goaltender for the Vancouver Canucks. That's on Friday, November the 11th. Saturday the 12th. I mean, Theo Fleury, Mike Modano. I'm going to do Theo Fleury, Mike Modano, Matt Sundin, Denny Savard. I mean, right there, you've got four. I mean, Theo's not a Hall of Famer, but you have three Hall of Famers, four superstars. Ron Duguay, I mean, he was married to what's her name? The supermodel with the last name Alt. I can't remember her first name right now.
Carol Alt.
Carol Alt. He's married. He was or is married to Carol Alt. He used to have the flow going.
Yeah.
Very, very popular kind of niche player. And then you got Ricky Henderson. I mean, come on, the stolen bases leader. Ricky Henderson, Tim Raines, and Muggsy Bogues from the NBA. This 1972 Summit Series team members: Paul Henderson, who scored the big goal; Phil Esposito, who's an all-timer; and Yvonne Cornwallier, who's got 86 Stanley Cups or something like that to his name. You come down, the Legion of Doom. If anyone doesn't know who the Legion of Doom was, well, they were the premier power forward line of the 90s, centered by Eric Lindros, John LeClaire, and Michael Renberg. These guys were absolutely on fire when they were playing. Peter Bondra. I mean, what a great guest Peter Bondra is. He was a sniper, a great goal scorer. D. Brown, basketball. Errol Thompson. I'm not too familiar with him, but it looks like he played for the Maple Leafs. And then Sunday, again, okay, it looks like Yvonne Cornway is coming a couple times. Eddie Belfour, Hall of Fame goaltender. Gary Roberts. Gary Roberts trains all the best players in the league right now, and he was a superstar in his own right. Yari Curry. Nobody had more points playing with Wayne Gretzky than Yari Curry did. This is a big deal. Jose Canseco. I mean, how exciting is Jose Canseco? Pat LaFontaine. Pat LaFontaine has one of the highest scoring single seasons on record in the NHL. Career was cut short. A star for the Islanders, the Buffalo Sabres. He's someone I would definitely go see. Guy Lapointe, Hall of Fame, Montreal Canadian. Dominic Hasek, you guys. The Dominator. I mean, one of my favorite all-time goalies. J.S. Jaguar, another goaltender. Steve Shutt from the Montreal Canadiens. Daryl Sittler, Hall of Fame, Toronto Maple Leaf. My favorite professional athlete of all time, Teemu Selanne, will be there. That's somebody who might get me to go to the autograph pavilion and away from my booth. Patrick Roach was Randy from Trailer Park Boys. Serge Savard, another Hall of Famer, and Michel Goulet, who, to me, him and Denny Savard were the two most exciting players of the 80s outside of Wayne Gretzky and Mario Lemieux. So I think this is really a fantastic autograph guest list. Who wants to speak to it? Anyone have anything to talk? Steve, what do you want to say?
Well, I mean, I'm really excited and proud of this list, and there are a number of changes that we made sort of on the back end to move towards this direction, and so I'm thrilled with it. I always like to see what we could still do better differently, and I'm glad to see there's more basketball guys, and I still would like to get other sports people here. Obviously, football and being the obvious one. You have some great baseball guys here. We tried for a couple of soccer players. I'd still love to have somebody like a Christine Sinclair here, and a lot of other great options. But this list is really outstanding. It'd be remiss. I mean, I'm talking to family here in a lot of ways. We do have a couple of cancellations on this list that are going to come out tomorrow. So that's, but I've been doing guest-based shows for 20 years, and that's just an unfortunate part of the piece. But that's reality. It's a phenomenal list. And the thing that I notice is, because I look at these things daily or several times a day, this is the first show that I've seen where there's so many of the guys are all doing well in advanced ticket sales. It's not like the last show pre-COVID, Sundin was at that, and he was 4 times I think what everybody else had, and that's not the case this time. We've got everyone is doing really well, and then guys like Madonna, Esposito are killing it. Obviously some of the guys you'd expect. Henderson, great. There's going to be another. I think this is a weird one, but. On the gossip front, Ron Duguay is bringing a special guest, I'm told, and so that'll be interesting to see. I don't know how many of you are up to date with his dating life, but so it's just
I'm not.
I'll let somebody will look it up and put it in the comments. I'm sure.
The good thing about this, Steve, and I can talk about this being an expo goer, is the variety that you've brought. That's one. 2, it's not centered. So let's go backwards. in the old days, you had your staples, right? You had your Bobby Hulls, you had your Phil Espositos, whatever we may have you, right? But here on this list, you have a D Brown. D Brown's not a household name in Canada, but he should be, right? There's Muggsy Bogues, another name that's well recognized in the NBA. So and Ricky Henderson, and like those are names that you don't get to see every day, right? What got me excited about this list is we've even grouped them like Legion of Doom. Like there's gonna be guys scrambling for Legion of Doom stuff, right?
Yeah.
The second thing it does that, and from a dealer perspective, the people come out to these shows want to buy cards of these players. Look how many people you have here. We're all guaranteed to have cards of these guys in our showcases.
Yeah, and it's actually it's a lot of fun for me. Some of these guys I actually, I think many people know I'm not a true hobbyist. I mean, I'm becoming more of one, but so I look up some guys like D Brown, and I end up sitting 10, 15, 20 minutes going down rabbit holes of highlight videos and stuff through the career. So it's pretty fun from that standpoint. But and I'd be remiss if I didn't say that this is the hard work of a lot of great people. So the people that bring these guests, Steve Fournier, Sport Authentics, Cody and Joe from Kojo, and of course Molly from MAB, Ryan from Autograph Authentic, and then they're supported by other agents that help them with these deals. So we really challenge them to step up, and I'm working with Andre Lassard of the Anti-Expo to help manage this piece for me, just because this is more than I can do. Just like Mikey is, he's an integral part of the show in terms of the operation standpoint and the goings on and the content. Andre's becoming that on the autograph side. So every one of those people has really pulled together to create what I agree is the best list that this show has had.
Well, I'll just mention with respect to Andre, who again organized or one of the promoters of the Montreal Anti-Expo I was at last week. It was his first show as being part of that team, and he did a great job. I heard lots of compliments from other people at the show about the job that he did and how that show came along. So the fact that he's helping you and he's kind of running or organizing the autograph pavilion, and I don't know exactly what he's doing, but whatever it is he's doing, I would have to say I'm sure that you are in good hands there, Steve, with Andre, and I'm sure it takes a lot of pressure off of you, Mikey, as well, to know that it's kind of being handled and you can trust it'll be handled well. So how do you feel about that, Mikey? What does it allow? What is having Andre doing here? What does it allow you to do better for what you do?
It allows us to focus on making the experience for the autograph seeker a much better one, right? It takes a lot of pressure off of that. And so just to talk about this, when we see a great guest list like this, we're excited because we get to see the people who are coming out for the autos and what it does for them and how much it means to them, getting that autograph, getting that chance to shake the players' hands. A lot of these players, as you said, don't come out very often. So it's a rare opportunity for people who've been lifelong fans to have the opportunity again to connect with them, get that auto, make that memory, buy a card from Ameet when they're trying to get a Timu Solani rookie sign. So it really is. It's an amazing part of the show, and having someone like Andre to work with is just one more thing I know will be taken care of well. Right. Yeah. So the autograph guests will be there. They'll be excited. They'll have a great time. I'm super stoked. Very excited to see this guest, and I'm a huge basketball fan. So like I saw D Brown actually win the dunk competition with his blind dunk. I watched Muggsy Bogues and D Brown play on the Raptors when they were here. So, Jose, 40-40 guy, 40 home runs, 40 stolen bases. And we got Q&As with a bunch of these guys too. So we're going to do some more than, I'm sorry, Steve.
No, it's okay. I mean, it's coming from the Comic-Con background, Q&As were really important to me to bring in. And I introduced them years ago, and I've been really committed to doing it because I think it adds so much more depth to the experience for fans all around. And it's an expensive endeavor, and it's also one that requires a lot of shift in attitude and financial models, if you will, for some of these guys. But it's great, and we're getting more and more of them. With Mikey's help in that regard, we're getting great content. So everything from Q&A with the cast of Slapshot to Q&As with the 72 Summit guys and that kind of, it's really, really compelling stuff.
That really is compelling stuff because it's gonna. I think that should bring people out to sit in the crowd and listen, and just it adds a whole other layer to the expo experience because it becomes more of an experience. I don't know how else to put it. It's not just about the cards
Yeah.
and standing in line and getting autographs. Now you can sit back and listen to these guys talk and hear some stories and maybe ask some questions. How long, for example, will the 72 Summit members have on stage? What is it, a half hour, 45 minutes? St. Legion of Doom, are they going up? How much time will they have?
They're not long, and again, I have to take my wins as and when I can, and some are longer. But you know what? If we only get 15 minutes with the Summit guys, then it's still 15 great minutes that we didn't have, and we're getting more of those. And over time, I think people will start to realize it's a great component of it. So most of them, I'd say on average would be about 15 minutes. Mikey, I think where we're probably at. So.
Yeah, awesome. And then they go right into their autograph signing. So usually people are chomping at the bit to meet them after the 15 minutes.
Well, that's part of why you do it, right? I mean, if they don't, it's not just for other people. It's they benefit from it too, because people say, "Yeah, you know what? I enjoyed that. I want to go and get his autograph or a photo with him and stuff." So,
and just to speak on the app again, that's another thing that we'll be doing is we'll be streaming all this content directly into the app. So even if you're not in the hall at that specific time, or you can't attend because you're in Great Britain and you're a huge fan of the hobby and you really want to come to the show one day, but you can't now, you can download the app and watch the show live as it's happening. We'll be doing live hits, live giveaways. So yeah, a lot of really cool stuff to get into and stuff that we're doing to make this more of a year-round experience.
Is there going to be a link to download the app on the website for people who are watching right now?
Yep, we'll be pushing it heavily starting, I think, Monday. So,
yeah,
good.
The app, and obviously we'll be streaming into YouTube, which is a platform you own. We're just playing in it.
Steve, was there something you wanted to jump in and say?
Well, just kind of wrapping that piece up is that I really, again, likening it to the Comic-Con experience, I really want the whole experience of going to the expo or hobby shows to be richer, to be less just transactional and more experiential and a deeper connection at all different levels. So I feel pretty good about the progress we've made, and there's a lot potential to do a lot more. And more of the companies and the dealers and so on that are there are really figuring out how to do a better job of retailing and of engaging and activating with consumers. Whether it's Ultra Pro doing kids breaks or whether it's attending Q&As, just figuring out ways to I won't say carnivalize, but basically make their presence there more engaging to everybody. So.
Yeah, I mean, if you were at the National in Atlantic City this last July, it was stepped up. It was all the exhibitors stepped up from prior, and I think that's going to kind of spill into the expo. It spilled into other shows as well that I've been to since then. So I expect that. Okay. Couple comments here. First of all, this Facebook user says, I've been to every expo as a dealer since it started. I've never seen a group of signers like this. That's pretty cool. Foul Fireball Jeremy says it does look like a worthy autograph event. I wonder if Ricky still refers to himself in the third person. We're about to find. I gotta say, Ricky Henderson impresses me as an autograph guest for sure. Want to shout out Barry Ma, our buddy from ComC. Barry will be there. As always, got to spend some time with Barry in Montreal last weekend, and his colleague Miguel as well. This Facebook user says, I believe there's 39 autograph guests, including Jeremy. I am not an autograph guest, but thank you for that. Go ahead, Ameet.
I'll gladly sign. I mean, yeah.
Ameet is the 39th signer. Scott Cause says booth 2402, 2403 will take U.S. funds. This is an important comment right here. Scott makes. Let's talk about this. He says, as an American, I'm a bit torn on how to price my stuff with the exchange rate. That could make buying a bit more conservative. So, I mean, listen, I think that Canadians are very aware and we understand the conversion. We understand we know what the US dollar is worth. We respect the US dollar. And so if you're American, the one thing I'll tell you though is I think you'll have better luck pricing in Canadian money though. Pricing your cards in Canadian, do the math. But if someone wants to pay you in US, I'm sure they can, but there's going to be a lot more Canadian cash in the room than US cash. That said, there's going to be a lot of Americans at this show. So us Canadian vendors need to be able to very quickly pull out our calculators and convert the price to US dollars. And I think we have to be encouraged to accept US dollars because it's a good dollar to take no matter where you are. So,
and I will offer conversion services, exchange services. For
There you go. What rate are you offering, Steve? What rate are you offering?
It's a fair offer.
We like US dollars here in Canada.
We do.
But I think that you're going to have better success, or if not even better success, maybe just a smoother experience pricing your cards in Canadian.
Yeah.
Just take the US dollar and multiply it by 1.35, 1.36, something like that. That'll give you the Canadian dollar. $100 US is like 135 Canadian. That's your exchange. You can work the other way as well. But I think, Scott, you'll be better served if you and listen, not everybody puts prices on their cards, which I know sometimes there's not time. You're always going to have a better show if you price your cards on the front of the cards. Maybe I shouldn't give away our trade secrets, but price your cards on the front. You're going to have a better show than if you don't price them at all, or if you price them on the back. Because I hear so many people tell me all the time, they'll say, I walk by a booth, there's no prices, I keep on walking. So it's just it's an obvious strategy to price your cards on the front. That's just a bit of advice from myself. Anyone have anything to say about all that?
No, I agree. I get. Sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead, Steve.
No, I was going to say I get that question a lot, and it's the same thing. I say Canadians are very accustomed to doing the conversion and to knowing what it is and accepting it. But I agree with that. And again, I'm also seeing more and more people come. It's surprised how many people just think, can I get money out of the ATM and all that kind of stuff? And yeah, absolutely you can. So I think it's a very exciting part of the expo is having more and more American buyers. And there's a lot of stuff that you won't find at a lot of the U.S. shows. That's why many of them come here.
Yeah. Ameet?
It's also not a new thing. I mean, Jeremy can attest to it. We've been dealing with the U.S. dollar since I started at the expo. Our ability to calculate and math on the fly is fairly quick for those who are seasoned dealers. You can pretty much work in autonomously with that. It is comical though when you do get someone that comes to your table and it's like, well, I'll give you your cards parked at 130 to give you 130 US, and you're like, okay.
Sure, I'll give you par for that. That sounds good.
But no, seriously, we're looking forward to American dealers coming because they buy up things that normally Canadians don't buy. I've noticed. They also inject a bit of diversity in terms of the card market. Right, it forces us to evolve our card collection beyond just Gretzky and McDavid. Right, so I'm excited for that.
Good. Okay, me too. I echo everything you just said, Ameet. All right, I'm going to run through some comments here, guys. Big Daddy Cool says, can I attend the Thursday trade night if I don't buy a VIP package? So I wasn't aware of is there a Thursday trade night? I know there's a Friday and a Saturday. What's Thursday, Steve?
Well, I think I'm guessing, but I think Big Daddy means can he attend the Thursday evening preview night as opposed to so it's a preview night. And the first two times we did this, we called it a VIP night. What we're doing just now is calling it preview night because I think it just opens it up more broadly. I have a number, and it's interesting. Thursday night is actually the most expensive option, and people say, "Well, why is it the most?" It's fewer hours, and it's Saturday is always the biggest day, and that's true. But I say because the value is in it's the preview. It's the first chance that people get to see all the new stuff, whether you're selling or buying, and also to see the grading companies. If you're looking to get stuff graded on site or authenticated on site, you can do that and get it done before the show's over in time to sell. So. That's why. So, yes, you can come Thursday. If you want to come Thursday only, yes, you could this time,
Awesome.
Which is new.
That's good to know. And I mean, I'll echo what Steve said. Thursday, that's when the dealers, no one else has seen the stuff yet. So if there's a card you're looking for, that's the time to come. So Thursday's the best day of the show, to be honest. I mean, Saturday's the busiest and Saturday's the best day, but Thursday, you get that preview. It's worth it. It's a big deal. Ameet.
So I want to talk about evolution of the show. This is an interesting fact I just thought of, right? So back before there was the Thursday preview night or VIP night, the dealers would move in, and Friday was known as dealer day, like the Friday till 11 o'clock. So all the dealers would do all their deals at that point. I can tell you, Steve, now that the preview is there, the pace at which dealers go to buy before the show even is open up, it is even more frenetic. Like it's funny. People are literally running down the hall saying, "Do you have this? Do you have this?" So it actually, as a dealer, I appreciate it because it focuses, channel focus to buy things quickly. But it gives anticipation and excitement, right, of what's to come. So I appreciate the preview night for that reason.
Yeah, I mean, when Steve expanded the show to a 4-day show from a 3-day show, I was like, this is the best thing ever. I'm so happy. That extra day is awesome.
Yeah.
All right. Want to say hello to you, GM10. Welcome to the show. Bobby Burrell says Ron Duguay is bringing long hair back. He might. GM10 says NHL will make a huge comeback in the States. That's great to hear. I certainly hope that they do. Albert Jones, good evening to you. Ogie says, traveling from Pennsylvania, whoever was in charge of getting these Hockey Hall of Famers, thank you. Thank you for this player autograph list. That's very nice, Ogie, and thank you for the tip. Much appreciated. Doug Lothers, longtime Expo vendor, Apple Tree Sports Card, says, looking forward to another great Expo. Sean Robb, longtime vendor attendee, says, do you think Marvel and non-sport cards will be prevalent at this show? Ameet, what do you think?
I think 100%, and I would like to thank Golden Auctions and a few other auction houses that have been showcasing and selling very expensive Marvel pieces, like PMGs. That's up the game for non-sport. Also, non-sport, there's more collectors of non-sport than there are sports, so it's interesting to see people come in for that reason. I also think you see a good smattering of that stuff. And then the last point I'll make, Upper Deck has been doing an amazing job of their Marvel releases. It's just amazing. It's a beautiful thing to watch. So yes, the answer is yes, in a very long-winded way.
How about you, Mikey? Mike, you have anything to say about that? I wanted to say something first here about Mikey. So Mikey started doing the show when Steve launched the virtual Sport Card Expos.
No, even earlier. So
Yeah,
Steve was one of my first. So when I went out on my own, so I used to own and run the show across Canada, sold that, and then started my own show, which didn't go great, but Steve was my first client in 2018 to hire us on to help out with his event.
So then you continued through the virtuals when the pandemic had us staying home, and working with Steve in the Sport Card Expo, you got into collecting and dealing sports cards. So it's funny. You're not just a logistics guy. You're not just an event organizer. You're also a sports card enthusiast. You love the buy-sell trade. You collect. You like your sports cards. I love that about you, Mikey. But so that's why I can ask you as well your thoughts on Sean Robb's question here. Do you have? And I mean, listen, you got your feet on the ground there. You're dealing with the vendors, with a lot of a lot of the people who are involved in the show. Are you seeing there's going to be some non-sports there? And what are you hearing about soccer, wrestling, F1? Speak to those things.
Well, soccer. Well, definitely, there's been an increase in non-sports related stuff over the last. So I've been in part of the show, like I said, in 2018, and it was primarily hockey. With a very heavy weight, very little non-sport stuff there. Now we fast forward to 2022. I would say 10 to 15% of the floor, smattered around a bunch of booths, is non-sport stuff, like whether it's Marvel, Impel 90. Or it's PMGs, or Pokemon, or MetaZoo, or some of the other Magic. So you're going to see all of this stuff out there, and because it's got such great value, and you have people who are promoting it as Ameet just said, the auction houses that are featuring them and selling huge dollar value cards. And the second part is you have Logan Pauls of the world who are flexing their Charizard down their fight thing, and that opens it up to $100 million viewers, that this is the new ice for the next generation coming up. So it is definitely within the collections. It is something that the younger generation of collectors are definitely into. So you're starting to see that spread around the show.
Awesome. Go ahead, Ameet.
I'll make one last comment. In entertainment and Pokemon and stuff like that, they don't break their legs and careers end, so they're good at that.
Touche. Yeah, Charizard is still going strong.
Yeah, that's true. But yeah, many of the new vendors are, if not exclusively, heavy TCG event dealers. As I've certainly see it a lot more. I mean, Jeremy, we're also the Beckett Summit, and many more people are coming into the hobby through that side of it. So
they certainly are. They certainly are. Also through the I want to call them the art cards. Through Topps doing so much with all these artists, and Andy Friedman has his own set called Top Spotlight. He's going to be on Sports Cards Live on Saturday, everyone. So come. He's a Topps artist among. You got to see this guy's list of publishings. He's had the New Yorker, like New York Times, all sorts of awesome things. So he'll be joining me on the show on Saturday. But that has opened up a lot of people's eyes to sports cards as well.
Well, look what the grading companies are doing. I mean, Beckett's now doing video games, and PSA is doing Funko Pop, grading and encapsulating and so on. So it's going both ways.
Yeah, definitely, certainly. So I like the Scott Cause says, I price in Canadian, even here in the States. Thank you, Scott. Barry Ma wants to know, Steve, is Wednesday late afternoon the start to move in for vendors, or is it Thursday morning?
So, Wednesday from 4 p.m. to 8 p.m. will be dealer move-in, and then Thursday it'll be from 8 a.m. So that info is going out tomorrow, but that's.
And shout out to you, Barry. I'll be doing my first up to ComC this year, so I'll see you soon.
Nice.
Actually, that's the thing. It'll be ComC will be there to accept your submissions for the ComC site. So that's also something a lot of people like myself look forward to.
Well, I watched Jeremy in Edmonton last year come with like 5 cases. I'm like, okay, this is what I have to do with some of the stuff.
I think I gave. And at the Edmonton Expo earlier this year, I gave Barry, I think, 1,600 cards at the end of the show to sell on ComC for me. And I got to shout out ComC, friends of theirs, of course, but also did very well by me. So it's a great service.
I agree.
Okay, we're going to keep on moving. Jay-Z says, due to work commitments, I won't make this expo, but I'd like to say a big thanks to all those that make our hobby so great, like Steve, his crew, and all the vendors that make the trip and make the expo so great. And Jay-Z's been at the expo several times. So thank you for that shout out, Jay-Z. Very nice. Scott Cause says, keep in mind, World Cup starts 8 days after the end of the expo. This could create more of a buzz than past expos. I got a lot of asks in June about soccer. Just an observation. Yeah, that's something to be aware of for sure. Barry Moss says, Mikey, each day will be 40K step day. It's going to be busy. Lots of steps for everybody. Wear good shoes if you're coming. Those floors can be tough on your body, but definitely wear some good shoes. All right, let's change it up a little bit. Steve, you alluded to grading a few minutes ago. Let's talk about. So there's a bit of a new configuration. If you're used to coming to the expo, you'd walk in the front doors, you'd go to the back of the room. That was the autograph pavilion, if you want to call it, at the back. That is now moved. What's now at the back, Steve? Let's talk about kind of how things have moved for people.
Yeah, so and that was part of the whole process in terms of what we had to do. I mean, everyone was thinking, back in Hall 5, it would be as it was, and it's not as it was. It's similar, but it's not the same. One of the considerations in getting a secondary hall, whether it was going to be the ballrooms or Hall 4, was it would need kind of an anchor tenant, if you will. I often think of myself as a landlord or as a mall owner, and so how do I get people to move around the entire space and so on? And it's like putting the milk at the back of the variety store, right? It's that approach, and that's what the autograph pavilion, and that's why that was one of the key advantages of it being back there. Whether or not they stopped at your booth, at least they drove traffic. And now, so that was part of the thinking. So the autograph pavilion can stand on its own. Originally, I was going to put it in the ballrooms because I've always wanted to do that because frankly, it's nicer. It's carpeted. It's a better venue. It's better lit. And so that was the original intention. But there was just so much demand for additional booth space that it wasn't going to be enough space. So in its place, my idea and what we've created is the grading and authentication zone. From what used to be really 3 grading companies pre-COVID, we've now got 7 at this show. So 7 grading companies. So I wanted to create a zone. I wanted to have everybody there in a single area. Again, it's a way to draw people through, but it's also a chance for people to educate themselves around who's there, what are the differences, what do they do, and right beside them are the authenticators. JSA is there, Some of the submission companies are also there, obviously COMC, PWCC, iCert is going to be there as well on the authentication side for the Canadian brand. So all that in one great space allows, and there's a combination of the on-site slabbing that KSA and MNT do. Beckett will be there doing raw and graded card reviews, and all of them will be, of course, taking submissions. So I think it's an exciting addition and expansion of the show.
So let me ask you this: in past years, I've seen KSA in particular set up sort of in the middle of the show floor with their slabbing machine with that really high pitched sound whenever it would come down.
Yeah, you can press.
Is that now away from the vendor booths and out in that pavilion?
Yeah. So yeah, KSA and MNT both slab on site, and yeah, they're the compressors are getting better, but that was part of the consideration as well, is that through means that don't really matter to this conversation, they ended up at the front of the show, and I didn't want that. So they're all together in the back, and those two companies in particular will be slabbing on site, and and I think that will only become more. I think you will see more brands slabbing on site in the future.
I know that at TAG we really wanted to be able to slab on site this show. Yeah. We could not get it done in time. It's different for TAG than it is the human grading companies, because we have equipment that needs to be calibrated in order to to grade the card. It's automated AI grading versus human. So, but we definitely want to be out there. Now, I want to also mention, as far as TAG grading goes, so we will have a submission booth among these 7 grading companies, Steve, but TAG will also have a booth on the main floor, showcasing all of our differentiators, showcasing our technology, showing off our slabs, our digital image and grading reports. You'll be able to see those on several iPads set up. So are there any other grading companies besides TAG that will have an actual presence in the show floor itself?
No, everybody will be, well, the only other one is SGC, and SGC will be accepting submissions through one of their biggest Canadian group submitter, Minting. So in that sense, they'll be taking submissions through their booth, and they're pretty much center of the floor. But to the point on TAG, I was at both the Burbank show and then, of course, at the Beckett Summit, and there's nobody who's interested in this hobby at all that won't be intrigued and blown away by what TAG is doing. Whether or not it's in your wheelhouse, it is phenomenal to see how it works. It's phenomenal to see how great a job they've done with the technology, the branding, and the experience. So it's a super exciting piece, and it shows and demos exceptionally well. So I'm excited that it's going to be here.
Yeah, I as someone who if you don't know, if you're watching, I work with TAG. I've been I'm very excited about what TAG is doing. So I just want to thank you for that, Steve.
Yeah,
for that
true.
shout
I was gonna
out.
say, if they didn't know, they would have for sure guessed it by now, because you went from Jeremy Lee host to Jeremy Lee tag grading in that one conversation.
Pretty darn smooth, though, right, Mike?
Yes, it was. It was very smooth segue.
Well, hey, I mean, you know what? I'm excited about it for various reasons. I just think it's awesome, and so and as Steve said, we do show what we did have a great showing at Burbank at the Beckett Industry Summit, and I just want to invite everybody who's watching. Come by my booth. What booth number am I? Ameet 730,
732, 731.
731, 732. Come by those booths where it's mine and Ameet's. Our usual spot will be there. But I'm going to have several TAG slabs on display for sale. Come check it out, and then I'd be happy to walk you over to the TAG booth on the main floor and kind of show you around, show you what's going on. But definitely check it out. It's really impressive, and so I'm looking forward to the show for many reasons. But of course, what I love to do is be at my booth, wheel and deal, buy and sell cards, and Ameet and I have been doing that at the same beside each other now for at least 10 years, and so really excited about that. I think it's really great, Steve, that you've got the whole grading pavilion, kind of everyone in there together, and it gives people a kind of a just one view of what the grading landscape looks like. And, if there's 7 grading companies, I'll just point out, you got 6 human grading companies and 1 automated grading company. So you've got a lot of selection in there. And obviously people have their favorites. So it'll be a lot of fun. And I'm just looking forward to the show overall as far as TAG goes. I know the team from TAG is very excited to come up for this. Okay. A couple more comments we're going to go to. Jim Francis says, don't forget about us dusty vintage guys. And Jim, Jim and I, we actually rode to the airport together in Montreal the other day. So great to see you, Jim. And definitely go by Jim's table. He's always got great vintage stuff. Bobby Burrell says the best bathrooms are at the back of the show. So there you go. There's a veteran tip from.
They won't be the
Bobby.
best anymore, Bobby, if you see putting it out on social.
Actually, there's a better one. But
Bobby just ruined it for everybody.
there's a better one, but I'm not telling anyone.
No.
Mid-Atlantic Sports Cards and Collectibles says, I hosted my first show in DC in October, had no idea what to expect, ended with 65 tables, 700 attendees, positive feedback, but hope to grow. What advice do you have for a small-scale, one-day show promoter? Steve, we'll put that to you. Any advice for that?
Well, my philosophy has been, and it's a little bit different, of course, but I'm dealer focused first. If my dealers are happy, then it's usually a successful show, and I rely on dealers to kind of bring in their audience and so on. But it's a little bit different for me. Again, not being from the hobby, I really rely on dealers to kind of tell me what they need, to point out the things that work well and those that don't. But yeah, that's served me well.
There you go. Mid-Atlantic. Hope that helps you. And just as somebody who goes to card shows, I think one of the most important things you can do is have a relationship with the vendors and encourage the vendors to be nice to everybody and to talk to people and to look up. You can go to a card show. You can go from table to table. If the vendor is sitting there on their phone, doesn't even say hello to you, I think that's a problem. I think it's a problem.
It is a huge
Go ahead.
problem. You know what? It is a problem not in just this show, but any show or any shopping experience, right? So
Absolutely.
if you go into any place, any store, anything, and the person working there does not acknowledge your existence, you are not going to spend much time there at all.
Exactly. It's similar to, putting your prices on the front of your cards is just such an easy thing to do unless you have something to keep secret. You want to put on the back of your card so you can change the price based on the person that comes to your table. I don't know, but I mean, pricing your cards, talking to people, being friendly. I've said this before. If you're new to the show, I'm going to say it again. Anytime a kid comes to your booth and says, do you want to look at my cards? Your answer automatically has to be yes. Doesn't matter how those cards come to you. If they come in a paper bag or a nice Zion case, you have to say yes whenever a kid asks for you to look at their. You don't have to buy anything or trade with them. You can say nothing for me, but thanks for showing me your cards. Good luck at the show. It's really just common courtesy, the golden rule, those sorts of things. All right. Gross Bros says, if Ricky Henderson's legs could speak, they'd shout, I'm thirsty. Very good. Bobby Burrell says, to Ameet, no secrets, stay downstairs.
Bobby, you gave it away. What are you doing, man? You just gave it away. I didn't have to say anything.
That's the VIP bathroom that he just gave away.
Yeah, he just pulled it. I'm not going there now.
Next thing he's going to give up my office bathroom.
There we go.
Four will be the good bathroom.
I have a question,
Come to
though.
Hall 4.
In the evolution of the card show, Steve, where did you place the pepperoni stick guy?
Well, that's one of my unresolved challenges that I'm going to give to Mikey, because Tony, who everyone knows, he's like kind of your grandfather. He's been there much longer than I have, and he is a fixture there. He had to miss the last show for surgery, but he's coming back, and I got to figure out where to place him, because his booth was one of the ones that was squeezed out by the food court. So he'll be there. He will be there, and we should make a point of that, of letting him know. And I just give him an honorary place on the dealer listing.
And also, is it true that you secretly sponsored a hot dog guy out front?
No, it was only within the last couple of shows that I know that even happened, but no.
That was actually one of our sponsors did buy out 100 hot dogs and drinks for all guests. So there's always fun stuff like that going on at the show. A lot of really fun things going. And Steve, there's not enough credit given to Steve on trying new things, in reinventing the show, adding new things to it. When COVID happened, almost all other card shows across North America shut down. Within a month, Steve had a virtual expo with 10,000 people in it. So it's been very cool to work for him.
Awesome stuff.
You're the
Awesome.
best hot dog guy. Bobby's mind is focused. Cards, bathrooms, and hot dogs. So.
All right, let's move along, guys. Let's talk a bit about some of the people that are coming. Let's call them influencers, Steve and Mikey, who are coming, who we know will be shooting footage and kind of sharing it online on social media. And along with that, let's talk about. We talked about, as far as the main stage goes, we talked about the autograph guests, but there's some other panels, Mikey, that you've curated and put together, and I know I'm going to be involved in a couple of them. So why don't we talk? What do you want to do first, guys? You want to talk about who's coming as far as like kind of hobby celebrity, or do you want to talk about panels?
Well,
Let's talk about.
Yeah, Mikey, why don't you talk about some of the influencers and so on that are there, and then you can go into the stage sessions. And I want to talk about some of the other attractions and other features of the show that are kind of new and interesting too.
All right, Mikey, go ahead.
So, as a lot of people have known, the hobby creators have exploded over the past 6 years. I'm online with one of them right now. So Jeremy always says I'm not a celebrity, blah blah blah. He is, right? People come to the show to see Jeremy. At the virtual event, a lot of people spent a lot of time in your booth talking to you and Ameet. So people do come out to see you. You'll be on a couple of the panels. We have Jeff Wilson from Sports Card Investor. He has a massive following. He does incredibly slick content. He's been in the business, and it's not fly by night. It's been 6 years. He's built and invested in the industry as well. So really cool to have him back for doing a couple panels. We have Ty from Chasing Cardboard. So what's really cool about his show, it's very much like American Pickers for the hobby. I watch a lot of his content. I consume it. That's why I brought him in.
Let me just jump in about Ty, because you mentioned Chasing Cardboard, which is a new piece of content that he's been developing, but he's also been an active YouTuber. He's an original, as far as like an OG YouTuber on the channel Bench Clear Media on YouTube. So he's pretty well known amongst sports card YouTube consumers and that. So I just want to mention that it's more than just chasing cardboard for him.
And it shows, right? It shows in terms of the high level of content that he produces. So, and we'll be talking about that. So we'll get more into that when we start speaking about the panels, but it's been really cool to see that. We've got the Hockey Gong Show podcast, people who we did a show with them just recently. They're awesome guys. Pug Junk is coming in. We have Aaron Nowak from Slab Stocks. It's also coming in. So again, a lot more influencers coming to join us. We're in talks with even more to come in future events. So it's been really nice to be noticed. It's really cool to have them come join us and to be able to put together these panels.
And I just want to throw in, before I forget, that Thursday night, after the VIP event, or after, the early bird or the preview night, Jack Astor's is about an 8-minute drive from Hall 5 at the International Center. And that's where, I'm putting it out there. We could have 300 people show up, and I'm not going to get in, because I'm not going to get there till about 20 after 8. I'm going to wait till the show ends, and maybe it's already full, but despite that, I just want to make it known that is happening, and everyone's invited. I made the reservation for 50 people, so we'll see what happens. Hopefully I can get into that. It is in my name, by the way, and it's in the indoor patio. They have an indoor patio at Jack Astor's, the Toronto Airport version of Jack Astor. So again, everyone who's watching this, listening, is invited, but some might not get in, but we've never, honestly, it's never been a problem before. No one has been turned away. And I've been organizing this dinner for 10 years now. So it should be fine. Now, my audience, my platform has grown, but I'm still hopeful that everybody will get in. I just wanted to throw that out there. Mikey, let's hear about some of these panel sessions you got going on.
So it starts with Thursday night. We've got a panel talking about basically the health of the hobby. So there's obviously been a lot of turmoil, fluctuation in card prices. So just looking at an overall view moving forward, right? We're coming out of the heady days of the pandemic. So we've got Nicholas Kalou from eBay on there, Jeff from Sports Card Investor, David Marino from Collectible, and moderator will be Aaron Nowak. So again, it's a group of really great hobby minds who are coming in to speak from different areas of the hobby, right? So you got Collectible, which does a totally different thing than eBay does, which is the individual sales. So they're going to come in and give us a really, and I apologize for not mentioning David prior to this, from Collectible, who will also be in.
Yeah, and I just want to mention, so great panel, by the way. Aaron from Slab Stocks, he's done a great thing at the National the past 2 years. Camp Kesem is a charitable organization, a camp for kids whose parents have suffered from cancer. It's a charity that sends these kids to camp, and he's done a great job of promoting that. So I'm a big fan of Aaron and his father, who I've gotten to know from seeing them at shows, and what Aaron has done he's one of these guys that gives back. He's from Slab Stocks, but you did also Dave Marino. I don't have to say about Jeff Wilson. Everybody knows about Jeff Wilson, Sports Card Investor. He's a big personality in the hobby. Jeff Wilson will be on Sports Cards Live Friday, December the 2nd, I think it is. A special episode. Jeff and a couple people from his team are going to be joining Sports Cards Live. So I invite everybody to come watch that as well. And we'll debrief the expo a bit, I'm sure. But Dave Marino, I want to stop on Dave Marino. Dave's a good friend of mine. And Dave does work at Collectible, the fractional ownership company, who I do Collectible Live for every Sunday. But Dave is so much more than just somebody who works at Collectible. He's a true hobby ambassador, and he's just one of these guys that, if you know him, you love him. He's one of the nicest guys you'll ever meet. He's a positive guy. He's a realist. Having him on the panel is a big win. I'm looking forward to seeing that. Please continue, Mikey.
And so that takes us through Thursday, and then for Friday we've got early in the morning at 11:40, and each of these panels is going to be about 30 to 45 minutes. Again, to give everyone a good sense, but not steal them away from autographs and shopping at your guys' booths. So we've got the Future of the Hobby panel. Again, we've got Nicholas from eBay, Aaron from Slab Stocks, William from Dollies, and Dave Marino from Collectibles. And this one, we're still likely going to have myself as a moderator. Still trying to sort that out right now, but again, we're going to be really focusing on where we see the direction of the hobby going. Is it going all digital? Is that going to have a play in it? So we're working on some of that stuff. And then we've got some great stuff going on. So we're going to do some kid giveaways. So I said this, we started this last year with one of our partners, Hit Parade. So they give us some great boxes. Some of the other vendors give us some great giveaways. So we bring kids on stage. Let them open something, really create a memory for them. And then we have the eBay Kids Break afterwards, where eBay opens a full case of Series 1 and gives it all away to the kids. So it's really awesome. And then we got the Hobby Content Creators panel. So this is the one that Jeremy will be on. So we got Ty from Chasing Cardboard, Jeff from Sports Card Investor, Jeremy Lee from Sports Card Live, and Aaron from Slab Stocks. And again, I will be the moderator of this panel. Actually, I'll be sending over my questions to Jeremy next week for review and notes. But yeah, really excited about this. All of these content creators I watch and consume. I'm often, that's my channel, right? Like I often don't watch TV anymore. I find a lot of my time spent on the YouTube platform watching things of direct interest for me. So I'm really stoked about this. And I see Ameet's got a big smile on his face. What's up, Ameet?
I've never seen you quite gush like a fanboy before. It was kind of cute.
Yeah, well, I'm super gushy. Like these are all, because again, this is what I watch. This is my entertainment. So it's really nice to see. It's great to have them all in one building, and to talk about what it takes to be a content creator. Because, as I said, there's a ton of budding content creators out there who are looking for tips and tricks to really find their audience, find their platform that works best for them. I should actually have one more. There's another panel that we've got, which is just hockey centric, and we've got Puck Junk, Hockey Gong Show, Coach Co Collectibles, and the greatest collector of Gretzky's products anywhere from Fort McMurray. He actually has an awesome Gretzky tattoo on his back too. So
On Shock.
Yes, Sean. So yeah. I love how Jeremy, even with me just saying that, the Gretzky of Gretzky collectors, immediately Jeremy knew it was Sean. So again,
Sean's pretty well known among collectors, and he's got the big Gretzky.
He's committed. He's committed.
Oh, he's committed for sure.
he is.
He's committed, definitely.
Well, the story of the fire in Fort McMurray, when he's like, I first packed up all of my best stuff, and then I got my kids.
Yeah. And if you want to hear that story in detail, I did have Sean on episode 99 of Sports Cards Live to tie into Wayne Gretzky's number, and he told the story about the fire and how he what he did to rescue as many of his collectibles as he could. So check that out. That's awesome to hear. Mm-hmm. Is there any more panels?
Yeah.
There's also the cast panels too, right?
I was just gonna say so, and we have the Q&A as well. So we've got Q&As with Kirk McLean on Friday, a Q&A with the Legion of Doom line on Saturday, Q&A with Mike Badano on Saturday, Q&A with the 72 Summit Series players on Saturday as well.
Q&A with Slapshot on Friday.
Yeah, Q&A with
cast.
Yeah, I don't know why that's not in my list right now, but it's a Q&A with the Slapshot cast as well.
And beer will be served.
Awesome. And then we also have a Q&A with Patrick Roach on Sunday and a Q&A with Daryl Sittler as well on Sunday. I bought this card specifically to get signed by Daryl Sittler, which I found myself doing more and more because that's what I needed, is another excuse to buy more cards.
Yeah, for sure. Ameet, you just heard all that. What if you were to advise attendees that are coming? What would you do? Would you send them to all these things? Would you? What was your favorite? What did you take away from all that?
Well, the thing is, having been to Fan Expo, and enjoyed that experience, I would say I would combine your experience with your autograph guest. So, for example, go to an autograph guest that you really want, then go to your panel you really want. You get to explore both worlds, right? Yeah. And in some cases, there is actually a tie that binds both, which typically is the rationale behind it. Mm-hmm. But don't give up a chance to actually go hear some of these guys speak. It's actually phenomenal. You get to, I don't know, for some of those you haven't heard. I know it's not one of your guests, but if you have someone like, for example, Phil Esposito speak, that guy has stories from.
He's great. He's such a great speaker.
Bobby Hull is another good one. Go listen to these guys speak because you won't get a chance. It's not stuff you hear on interview. This is this is straight out of their mouth. It's awesome.
And the great thing about that panel, like on the 72 panel, Ken Reed will be moderating that one. So Ken Reed. So that's going to cost me 3 signed hockey pucks, but it's an investment I think is well made. So.
And I was just going to say, they are really unfiltered up there. Like we had Bobby and Dennis Hall talking about their time playing together and some of their story, and it's totally different than any TV interview you'll ever hear.
Yeah.
Well, Ken Reed's a great anchor on Sportsnet, and he's an author of some hockey card books. He's a collector. He's a collector who's still in the 80s, though. Yeah. He doesn't know anything about cards after about 1988, but he loves his 70s and his 80s hockey cards. That's for sure.
And I just wanted to answer a note from Jerry. You haven't pulled it up yet, but Jerry, just so you know, we are going to be streaming all panels out, all content from the stage. So, if you miss it or you can't be there in person for it, you can watch it live on the app, live on YouTube, or watch it after the show is over. We'll have all that content up. Sport Card Expo has its own YouTube channel, so you can watch not just those, but all of the ones we've been doing in the past. We're curating a lot of content. Like I said, we're really trying to make this experience a year-round thing, especially now that there's 3 shows across Canada.
Awesome. I wanted to, Steve, before we get into some of the new sort of features of the show, I wanted to ask you about ticket sales. You talked about ticket sales for the autograph guests.
Yeah.
You sell tickets in advance. There was a question earlier. I forgot to bring it up, but it was somebody had asked, what's the difference between the gold?
See that.
Yeah, I'm going to try and find
gold, silver. What's the difference between the gold, silver, and bronze VIP packages?
Yeah, I don't know where. Do you know where the?
It's just above Gross Bros Paradise.
Okay, I'll find that. Here we are. So this question. Hi guys, wondering what the difference is between the gold, silver, and bronze VIP packages. Steve, if you could answer that, but then also speak to how are pre-sales going and what are you hearing about kind of like the Burbank show, for example. The lineup was like some people didn't get in till 3:00. It was lined up, fire marshals and all that. So speak a bit after the difference between these VIP packages, just to what you're seeing, what you're expecting for kind of traffic.
Sure. Yeah, and again, the VIP packages are something that I really took away from my experience with Comic-Con, and that's, people want a greater experience. People want access is important to people. I mean, literally getting in 15 minutes early is a big deal to a lot of people, and that's one of the key benefits of a VIP package is you get in 15 minutes earlier each day than the general public. And whether that means you're rushing to be first in line for an autograph, or you want to go and see what's at this table, or you get your cards, whatever it is, that's very, very big value. There are some Ultra Pro, who's one of our big supporters. They're the title sponsor of the Autograph Pavilion. They have some great items and some promos that they always do that are in the bag. You get offers from Beckett, from JSA, that are a lot of great hobby swag and great hobby value are in the bag. And then the key other difference between gold, silver, and bronze is there are coupons for the merchandise pavilion that are included. So the gold has a $75 coupon, for example, so that you can spend against an autograph or any of the merch that's there. So they're all 4-day passes that entitle you to the preview night in the 3 days. And then those are the other key differences, just the dollar value of the merchandise coupon.
And that's the merchandise that you would then get autographed by the autographed guests.
Correct. So if you wanted to get some pucks or blank pucks or unsigned photos, you could do that, or you could just put it against, drop this down against my Curry autograph for my jersey and that sort of thing. So that's what that is. And yeah, I mean, on the tickets, yes, we sell tickets in advance. And again, when I first took over the show in 2016, there was no such thing. It was all gate, and it was all walk-up traffic. I started doing that more because I wanted to know who my customers were. I wanted to get information. So it was, by doing that, you get people's emails, and you can start to understand who customers are, where do they come from, how long are they there, or how many days are they there, that sort of thing. So that's been valuable. Pre-COVID, it was pushing rope uphill, though. I mean, it was 3, 4, 5% of sales were in advance. First show back from COVID, I wouldn't surprise anybody to say that it was like 25%. Because everybody was concerned that they wouldn't get in. So that was the key advantage, and that's hard to ever recreate that. So for June and now for this show, it's tracking about the same. It looks like it's between 10 and 15% of tickets will probably be in advance. So we're a little bit ahead of June numbers in advance tickets. But there are a lot of micro trends and so on that I see in there. We also sell something called a Fast Pass, which again, some of these things I don't know until I do them and try them, but Fast Pass is basically a front of the line ticket. So normally you'd think, okay, somebody's going to buy a Sundin ticket and then a Fast Pass because they don't want to wait in line. Well, now guys are, in some cases, are buying the Fast Pass, but then they're waiting until they get there to buy the autograph ticket. So just all the little micro things that people buy. But as I said, ticket sales are really strong across the board. Saturday is... And again, this is no different than Comic-Con. It doesn't really change year to year. Saturday is always the biggest selling day. Fridays have been getting busier and busier each day, but more 3 and 4-day passes percentage-wise than ever before. So,
I wonder if because now we're post-pandemic for the most part, a lot of people never went back to working in the office. There's a lot of remote work. With remote work means you can kind of
flexible.
Let's call it flexible. I like that. You can be flexible. You can actually go to the card show on Friday. I expect this to be a very busy Friday, probably the busiest Friday ever that we've seen. Ameet, you had something to say, then we're going to go to a couple comments, then back to you, Steve.
I wanted to, typically when we have these expo previews, we talk about it from a customer's point of view. I want to actually ask a question from a dealer's point of view. For example, maybe it might be helpful for some of the dealers that don't really read all their emails. When is the move-in day? What is the priority for that? When do you suggest to do it? What are the recommendations? Just so they hear it, because I know
absolutely. And my biggest challenge this year is that, this is a bullet that I deserve and I'll take, is that I'm late with communicating a lot of this key information. But it's been the most difficult show, even though we're going back into Hall 5. It's been the most difficult show to plan and organize. And it's just gotten so big that I've got to change some of those things. So post show, I'll be cleaning my act collectively in that and doing better. But so the the move-in procedures will be essentially the same as they were in June. So it'll be Wednesday move-in from 4 to 8 for. Sorry, I'm hesitating because I'm trying to think what I want to cover off. We no longer have the drive-in moving in, like those of you that know it. Dealers used to be literally able to drive onto the show floor. That's something we eliminated, and I think it actually works a lot better. But we have a whole crew of staff that are there to help you unload and move things. So that happens starting Wednesday. A lot of guys, because we open up so early at 8 o'clock on Thursday morning, will come and set up just on Thursday, and they've got right up until the doors open at 4 o'clock to be ready Thursday. So that's kind of the move in. Thursdays are from 4 to 8. Friday runs 11 to 8. Again, keeping in mind that VIP is always 15 minutes early. Saturdays 10 to 6. Again, we'll probably be doing a little bit of the airport thing where now that Legion of Doom has moved early, we'll have to pull people into line and get them through that. But and then Sunday is 10 to 5. And not to go back to where we were, but you talk about autograph guests. Sunday is as good as Saturday in terms of the lineup. So we've got Goulet and Hasek, for example, at 2 o'clock on Saturday. And I think Timu is at 1 o'clock. So it's a pretty powerhouse Sunday. Sorry. Sunday's what I meant. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, yeah, it's important to know all that stuff. So
Yeah.
good stuff there. I'm going to do a couple comments here, guys. Contender Sports says, thank you for everything you guys do for the Canadian card hobby. But it's true, but I like to think we're doing it for the overall hobby. It's not just for the Canadian, like the Toronto Expo is really an international type of show. It actually takes place at a venue called the International Center. So it's really an international show, and it's worthy of that, I would say. Jake Tall says Slapshot's a great movie. Yes, it definitely is. 101 memorabilia cards from Australia. Yeah, wish you would be there too. Scotty Noble's in the house. Good evening to you.
You want to hand me her?
Matt Pime says, I really want to thank you guys
my
for doing...
collectible.
What? Are you on an interview?
Yeah.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Sorry. Obviously, I just realized the settings were off.
Matt Pime says, I really want to thank you guys for doing the virtual expo back in 2020. It was a lot of fun and definitely a unique pandemic experience. Yeah, no doubt about that. And Eric says, looking forward to seeing you guys next week. So Eric will be coming up from the Boston area. So make sure to show him all of your all your Toronto Maple Leafs cards. Show Eric all your Montreal Canadiens cards. He loves the Habs and the Leafs. He loves the Rangers. We can't wait to see you, Eric. That's for darn sure. Steve, let's go back to you. There's a new feature at the show this year, something that you've never done before. The Motorsports Pavilion. Why don't you explain what that's all about?
Yeah, there's a few new things, but that's probably what I'm the biggest departure. In fact, the biggest attraction physically and from an investment standpoint. But I definitely do. I always look at what other opportunities there are and where other things exist, and looking at opportunities that come up. I mean, you'd have to be living under a rock to not know about obviously the Last Dance, and Drive to Survive was not far off that in terms of popularity and what it did to. Again, it's like Americans discovering soccer, right? It's North Americans are discovering F1. So the two biggest sports in the world are now becoming more commonplace. So we had last year a friend of DJ Skis who was there, a governor of Darren came by the show, and Darren he lives and breathes racing, motorsports racing, and he goes to literally all the races, and he's developed a world-class, one of the two best in the world companies that deals in race-worn merchandise. So everything from brake pads to helmets to race suits. He knows the drivers firsthand, and he goes to all the races. And so we talked about having a motorsports pavilion there that would celebrate some of this. I mean, no secret how successful the F1 Chrome product is, and so we're going to have an actual F1 show car there on site. One of Lewis Hamilton's early cars.
Wow.
There'll be a race-worn and signed Lewis Hamilton helmet. So you can literally get your photo taken holding the Hamilton helmet beside
Wearing it?
Potentially, if your head isn't too offensive to the inside of a helmet, it's so that's super cool. And there's going to be probably 30 to 40 again race worn suits, full suits, helmets, car parts, everything. So a pretty exciting piece. There's going to be a world class race simulator there where you can drive 5 laps of the Monza race course. So all very cool. Again, I'm a student of the hobby, and I'm looking for again, I look at it and I try to understand, not to the level that you guys do, but what is this whole NIL thing in the space, and what's it going to mean? And part of it is just that, all right, maybe I can't afford to get a Mario Lemieux or somebody. How can college athletes or beginner athletes, not the right word.
Amateur.
Different athletes come in and be relevant, especially when they have such big social media following. So I was looking at a couple of U.S. college basketball players that are also huge on social. And then in speaking to Darren, to tie back in motorsports, he works with a young lady named Menzie Brewer, who's an aspiring, she is pro now, she's a pro racer, and she races open wheel. And she's got over 1 million followers on social. So she'll be appearing, and it's another great activation, and it's another great way to expand the audience. So it'll be a really cool experience. I'm quite excited for it. So that's what that is, and that'll be in Hall 4 as well. So I think that alone will be a reason to go and visit that hall.
Very cool. I mean, listen, you said that you're not. You made the comment that you're not a natural hobbyist. I forget how you said it, but you're a student of the hobby. And listen, for anybody who's watching who doesn't know Steve, I just want to let you guys know a couple of things about him, because I've gotten to know you pretty well, Steve, over the last 4 or 5 years, I guess. And you're at all the events throughout the U.S. You're a student of it, but you're immersing yourself into the hobby, and you're also leveraging some great relationships with the 3 guys on the screen right now with you, as well as others, so that you can deliver to us, to the hobby, the best experience possible. And I think it's almost a great thing that you came in when you acquired the expo in 15 or 16 with that fresh set of eyes, these fresh ideas, and you're not thinking you know it all. You've seeked out some great counsel, some great advice. And like I said, I've seen you at every national going back to probably 7. I feel like I saw you in was it Atlantic City in 2017? Did I see you there?
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, that's you've already been to 5 nationals, well, maybe 4 without the canceled 2020. But I feel like you've been to them all. You do a great job. You're trying new things. Not everything's going to work, and that's okay. But it's the fact that you really are trying to stay ahead of the curve. And so kudos to you. I think Mikey said it before, but I think we, Ameet and I for sure, all the vendors, the attendees, we do owe you a thank you for keeping this thing going, and for even trying to fill in the void during the pandemic with the virtual Sport Card Expo, which I know I had a great time at. But I'll tell you something, there's no virtual event that comes even close to being what an in-person card show is. And now the card shows are back. I'm glad that there's really no more virtual expos. Well, I don't say that. I'll just say that I don't see a need for them anymore. I love I got to take that back, because some people can't get to card shows. If you can't get to a card show, it's a nice thing to be able to go online. But hey,
and you know what, Jeremy? That's
WCC. These are constant card shows online. Go ahead, Mike.
Yeah.
I was just gonna say there's that, and then we have the app. So the app also has a buy-sell function. All the exhibitors will be listed on there. So if you can't make it out, and there's something that it's an exhibitor you always go to see, and this year you can't make it, you can connect with them on the app. You can do some buying, selling, send each other messages, and make that your jumping off platform. Especially if you don't know these guys, like. I've gone to this booth 3 times, but I don't know them personally, but I know the name of the booth.
Exactly. Yeah, I saw a question in the comments about, if I'm not there, can I see any of the panels? And that's, that's something that actually through the app they'll be able to to see some of that stuff. We'll record them and make them available. So yeah, there are a lot of good things, and thank you for that, Jeremy. I do work hard at it, and the one mental note I made, I was scribbling it down. If I might have to clip that part of the video, is play for my wife that I don't pretend I know it all.
Well, I have one suggestion. Comment, which is the VIPs getting in 15 minutes early. Is there any way to, and listen, you don't have to answer this now, but consider it. Make a half hour, might be even a bit more valuable, or something even a bit better. If I was a VIP, I'd be looking for that half hour, because it's a big floor. So that's something that I think would work. And I know that the vendors like myself would be okay. Well, I'm not going to speak for other vendors, but I know Ameet and I would. I think we'd be okay with it. People coming in even an extra 15 minutes, half an hour, I think is a bit more substantial. No real damage done to the vendors, I don't think. I want to put that out there. I'm going to go to a couple comments, guys. Ameet, I think you want to say something, but I want to do a couple quick comments here. The first one is Scotty Nobles is going to be coming up on Saturday. Excited to walk the floor again. Excited to see you, Scott. Make sure you stop by and say hi to myself and to Ameet. And I just realized another hobby celebrity, an influencer, will be coming to the show. He is known as the Mayor of Canada. Rich Barone will be at the expo. You will find him. I'm not sure what booth he's at, but just listen for the
deep baritone,
obnoxious but lovable
Long Island accent.
In the Islanders jersey. He'll be in the Islanders jersey. He'll be there every day in a different Islanders jersey. He's getting ready for his 12-hour ride. The mayor will be in the house. Richie Barone, the Mayor of Canada, will be in there. We love. Oh, he's at booth 325. That's right close to us, Ameet, because we're.
Yeah. We'll have to get his Jack and Coke ready.
Well, we'll be able to hear him. If nothing else, we'll be able to hear him the whole time. We'll know where he is. We'll be able to hear him, right?
Yes, that's true.
So when I said earlier that you want to be nice to everyone that comes to your table, and we were giving advice to Card Show you want your vendors to be nice. You want them to say hello to everybody that comes by. Richie Barone he is exempted from that rule. He does not have to be nice to anybody. Make sure you go see Rich Barone at booth 325. I want to say hello to my good friend Joe Perot. Says best of luck. Thank you, Joe. Thank you for joining the show this evening. He says I'm a very quiet person. No, he isn't. And Jim Francis says, well said. Most vendors don't know the research and work Steve puts in to grow the show, which benefits everyone. Yeah, Jim can kind of validate that. It's important. I think Steve thanks everybody a lot. He thanks the vendors. He thanks the customers. He thanks Mikey. He thanks all of his staff. I don't know. Maybe it's a thankless job, Steve. I don't know, but I think I'm glad that we could give you a little bit of love back here, because we're happy. I know that I'm happy. I know Ameet. I know most vendors I talk to think you do a great job. So thank you for that. All right, Ameet, did you have something to jump in with?
Yeah, I wanted to say in terms of evolution of the show, I remember the early phone calls, Steve, you and I used to have at the beginning when you were just getting in and learning. And it's funny near the end of, like, not the end, but now it's like you're talking like a seasoned pro. So I appreciate that. And it makes me chuckle sometimes, right? You use some hobby terms that you just throw around like candy. It's kind of funny. I do want to thank you for all the hard work you do, even though people like me do give you a hard time, but you are hustling, you are learning, and you're evolving. So I can't wait for this show to go to 2, 3, 4 halls.
The whole facility.
That'd be great. Well, that's a big show. At that point, we got to find somewhere bigger. I don't know. I mean, we've been the national. A lot of people wonder why the national can't go to all these different places. There aren't big enough convention centers in most states to house the national. Mm-hmm. I wonder listen, we don't have to get into it, but I mean, who knows what would happen, where we'd have to go.
Yeah, it's a consideration. Absolutely. Yeah,
you're going to be creating the pseudo show, like at the anti-expo. There'll be the pseudo show, the pseudo expo, the quasi-expo.
Yeah. Well, here we go. We have a new here. David G says excited to visit the expo for the first time Thursday night, Friday morning. David, yeah, we're excited. I mean, I'm excited to meet you. Make sure you come by. Introduce yourself. Say hello to me. Say hello to Ameet. All the other vendors. Excited. I mean, anyone who's there for the first time, I want to meet you. I want to say hello because I love the show. I love the hobby. I love finding out how people, what are you there to do? What are you looking for? What did you buy?
Yeah.
What are you excited about? I want to have those conversations. So that's all pretty exciting. Steve, is there anything you can tell us about the vendor mix? So no, I'm not talking about the special activation or the graders or the autographs. I'm talking about the vendors, the guys who are set up with their showcases. You know, we're going to have people from the States. We're going to have anyone coming from international, like outside North America. And how many, do you know how many, what percent of new vendors that we've never seen before will be coming? Because to me, that's really exciting as far as meeting new people and seeing new inventory.
Yeah, and I think you're going to be really, really blown away by that. And I've been so busy, I haven't really gone into the kind of the deep dive into the stats and so on this. But you know, there are a couple of things, anecdotally speaking, that are pretty significant. We're up, pre-COVID, we're up 50% in terms of number of dealers and number of booths. So we're also for this show, we're over 350 dealers in over 600 booths. There were still between 30 and 40 dealers on the wait list that I couldn't accommodate for this show. And not necessarily that I want to have everybody in. I mean, I think there are, one of the things that you often see in a certain bull market is new people that have been collectors or dealers, and often then, you know, that goes back and forth. So there are a lot of, and there's at least 3 guys that I can think of that have 4 or more booths that are first time dealers. So, and some of the, you know, the pictures of collections that I've seen, like I'm getting more and more people selling me on letting them into the show. So whether that be showing me their collection, offering me cash, you know, over like paying list price plus, you know, and not in a bad way, but just they really want to be in there. So a lot of great new product, a lot of great new dealers, and no international dealers this time. Quite a few, you know, Americans that are coming back, but yeah, I think that Thursday night and even the setup day, there's going to be a ton of you know, dealers walking around looking at other guys setting up. So it'll be a lot of steps and exercise for everybody.
Awesome. Well, I love that stat that you're like 50% higher than pre-pandemic as far as vendors goes, and the fact that you've got people trying to like almost bribe you to let them into the show by paying more than list price, like that to me speaks to the health of the hobby. There are a lot of people that want to be in that room, because I mean, listen, there's no better room to be in the whole hobby, and for me at least. I mean, obviously I love my hockey. I collect everything. I love the National, but the Expo has its own feel, its own personality. It's like it's just an awesome show to be at, and I definitely can't wait for it. Soccer Ball Master says, don't forget to stop by and see the Cash Man. I think that must be Frank, who will be set up with our good buddy Andy Greenham at Forest City. Rich Barone, 319. I'm not sure what that's in relation to. Maybe vendors.
Number.
Number. Thank you. So thanks for those comments, guys. All right. I'm just looking. I'm looking at my kind of list of topics. We hit on everything. The one thing I do want to talk, Ameet, did you have something to say?
No. Please go ahead.
Okay. So I want to know this, Steve. What's coming up next? We got the Expo is next week. Next thing you know, it's going to be over. And I'm gonna be starting the countdown to the next Expo. So
stop.
What can you tell us now? You for the first time you organized the Expo in Edmonton. It was last April, I believe. I was there. I had a great time. I loved it. What's next? When is the next Edmonton show? When is the next Toronto show?
Okay, so Edmonton. Basically, I wasn't able to get the venue in April. So and then just the number of dates and so on. This is one of the challenges of picking shows and getting them in the right spot. My preference would be to have a show own a spot on the calendar all the time. So Edmonton's going to be later than it was because my only options were Mother's Day, Victoria Day weekend, or the weekend that we've got, which is June 10th and 11th. So I think the Oilers will still be in the hunt at that point in time, maybe with your Flames. So that's when Edmonton will be. And again, I was very, very, very happy with that show and got great feedback. A lot of interest in redoing that one. So that's a no-brainer in my mind. But similarly now, the big challenge, and I still don't have this sorted for next week, is what I'm going to be doing about rebooking, because I'm still I have one of 2 dates. So it's either going to be the last weekend of April or it's going to be the first weekend of May. And I still don't know what the hall configuration is going to be. I mean, that's just the truth. So between now and next week, I'll have that sorted. But it'll be one of those 2 weekends.
Well, I got it. The last weekend of April is actually a holiday. My birthday falls on the Friday that month, so I don't think that's going to work for anybody.
Okay.
But the first weekend of April, I'm kidding. Both weekends work just fine for me. That's for sure. Where would I rather be on my birthday than at the expo? I mean, come on, right?
Exactly.
It's probably
I would just
nowhere,
do both weekends.
probably nowhere I'd rather be.
But both weekends, is that what you said?
You would probably sell them out. I'm not gonna you. Actually, I'll put my money where my mouth is. I bet you a side bet. You'd probably fill out both.
Why don't you come really put your money where your mouth is and come exhibit?
I'll sign up for both. There you go. I'll be there for both.
We got to get some of these East Coasters out west to Edmonton for the Edmonton show, which it was an awesome show. So I want to bring Rich Barone lets us know that him and a few of his buddies, especially Frankie Stain, who's a longtime expo vendor and just a great hobbyist, says that we'll be doing another fundraiser for leukemia this year. So keep your eyes open for that. These guys always try to raise money for a good cause at the show. Kind of just it's an informal sort of thing, but they always do a nice job with that. So important to always be.
There's some good humans in this space, and Kerry Goulet, who's bringing in the Castle Slapshot, he's supporting his Stop Concussions charity and so on, and Ryan Lewis of Autograph Authentics helps me out. I personally support a charity in Toronto called Variety Village, and so they provide some support to that. So for the most part, we're a passionate crowd, and I often comment that can cut both ways, but it's a pretty good pretty big room of good people for the most part.
It does cut both ways. Just go on Instagram or Twitter for half an hour, and you'll see the good, the bad, and the ugly of the hobby. Yeah, that's for sure. Yeah. All right, great. So I'm going to put up on the ticker the Toronto Sport Card Expo. It's next week, and November 10th is the Thursday till November 13th, the Sunday. The website is on the ticker right now, sportcardexpo.com. If you'd like to follow the 4 people you see on the screen right now, they're on Instagram. There are, I have Andy Friedman on there still.
I was like, where did Andy come from?
That's the wrong one. This one here. He's coming on Saturday. I have that one preloaded for Saturday. Here you go. You got myself, you got Mikey, you got Ameet, and you got Steve, who is the Sport Card Expo account. So check those all out. Listen, I sound like I'm wrapping this up. We don't need to, but I
did want to jump in just before you do wrap up. One more thing. We do a high-end eBay auction around the show. This will be the 3rd time that we're doing it. So that will launch on Sunday at between 8 to 10 p.m. and end the Sunday of the show from 8 to 10 p.m. We have some really cool stuff from really high-end Gretzky's, as high as a BBG 9. We've got like a really cool Kylian Mbappe to 25 rookie card, and some awesome collectible stuff as well. So come check it out. It's probably about $400,000 worth of items that are going on for auction. We only do this twice a year, so if you're really looking to get some cool stuff, it's a great opportunity to shop.
And so these items that you're talking about, Mikey, these are going to be listed on, I believe, the Sports Card Expo eBay account.
It is.
Right now it has a low feedback count, but it's still very trustworthy. These guys are the ones behind it, being Steve and Mikey. I sold a card on it last time and was very happy with the result. So check it out. And then all the cards that you take in for this are going to be on display, I believe, at the eBay booth during the expo, so that people can see what they're actually bidding on, which is something you don't really get to do on eBay a lot of the time, is see what you're bidding on. So there's an option, that option is there to see exactly what it is you might be bidding on. And this is because is eBay the title sponsor for the show, Steve?
Yep, they have been for years now, and they're a great group to work with, and that's just one of the ways that we're kind of expanding our engagement with them.
Awesome. Good initiative right there. Player's Choice in the house says, looking forward to seeing y'all next week. Player's Choice is one of my favorite shops out of Kelowna, BC. I think they have 35-40% of the show floor booths this time.
I thought they were based in Vegas, aren't they?
I think Jason likes Vegas, but always good to see the Players Choice crew at Expo and other shows as well. So, Ameet, anything you're on mute to remind you, but anything you'd like to add? We're at an hour 44, so we're gonna wrap this up. But anything you'd like to add before we go? Anything you want to maybe you want to talk about? What kind of merchandise you'll have at your booth?
Oh yes. I actually took a bit of a break, so now I'm going to be showing some cards. I'll stop talking. I'll show some cards. So
just a couple.
I have some price, like an Adam Fox PSA 9 Young Guns. Wow, that's terrible.
Nice.
There we go.
Ameet, let's
Nicely
not go.
priced.
Let's just talk about the type of stuff you're going to have. I want to wrap up. So
Yeah. So well, I'll just hold it here. I'll have this kind of stuff. I'll have hockey cards, all nice little patches. Non-sport, of course, all sports, and a lot of entertainment stuff. So please come on by and bug me and Jeremy and buy our stuff.
sounds good. I'm going to be there with my usual display. Should have about 6 showcases and some overflow filled up. I'm going to have tons of game use, tons of beautiful patch cards, premier prime colors, mega patches, a ton of SP Game Use Supreme patches and that kind of thing. No dead cuts, Richie. I don't have any dead cuts. Rich always wants to know about dead cuts. I'm going to have hopefully about a showcase filled with graded cards graded by tag, technical authentication and grading. You can come and see the tag slab. If you haven't seen it in person, check it out. Trust me, you're going to love it. And graded cards, raw cards, all that kind of stuff. I can't wait for this show. As always, Justin Vick in the house says, good luck with the expo. Everybody sounds like a winner. Rich Barone, hey boys, I will see you next week. We will see you next week. Richie, drive safe up from Long Island. Eric wants to load up on Bruins cards, boys. I'm on my way. Eric only buys Bruins cards, even though he secretly loves the Habs and the Maple Leafs. All right. Any final words from you, Mikey?
Just excited to be back at the expo, show off a couple cards since you guys got to. These are some of the cards that will be up for auction. Gibson rookie, Gretzky rookie, and a really cool Zion rookie. And I've been collecting like crazy. The price drop for me has been friendly since I found I'm more of a collector than a seller. So any kind of deals I get is great. And super stoked to be at it again.
Awesome. Ameet, you went. Steve, final comments.
You know what? This is a punishing couple of weeks for me, but it's so worth it, and especially when I hear all the great feedback from you guys. And it's like I say to my son all the time, like it goes fast, man. So the 4 days will be over before you know it. So enjoy every minute of it. And I'm super excited. Got a lot of work to do still, but look forward to hosting everybody. Let's have a great time.
It does go by fast, you guys. You know, Ameet, we get there at the beginning of the day on Thursday, and we know we have 4 days of show ahead of us. Next thing you know, it's 3 p.m. Friday, and we're like, oh my God, it's over. It's almost over. Please slow. I wish time would slow down. So,
I do agree. I also think from now on, we won't mention the end of the show until the end of the show, Jeremy.
Yes.
Yeah.
Fair enough. All right, guys. Richie Barone, Thursday night, everybody. Thursday, the Jack Astors. You can Google it, but I'll be putting up on my Instagram where that is. Thursday night. Go ahead, Mikey.
One more note: we have an official trade night happening Saturday night, almost right at the conclusion of the event, sponsored by Mint Inc. It'll be taking place in the Aviation Rooms, which is just across from Hall 5. You can't miss it. Come on down. It's really a trade night mixed with an after party, DJ, things like that. So it'll be a really good time.
And there's also a trade night I've seen on Friday night. I think Relics is
Don't
doing
know
something
about
as well.
that one. Don't know about any non-official trade nights.
That's one of the things that I was saying in terms of the growth of the show and the health of the show is that there are more and more activations that are happening around, which is exciting. I mean, there are a couple other quick things I'll wait on this. Classic Auctions is putting together an actual sports museum along the lines of what Heritage does at the National. So that'll be there. We have a table hockey tournament that's going to be happening. So that'll be pretty
anyone?
cool. What's that?
Open
Yeah, there's open play, and then there's actually some of the the top table hockey champions
Really?
of the world there. Yeah, that are going to be there playing.
Interesting.
We've got like 5 or 6 different artists and crafts, like hobby crafts, booths there. So we almost have an artist alley. So some super exciting other things, and yeah, it's going to be good fun.
All right.
Choose wisely.
All right. Well, I think we're good to wrap this up, everybody. So, yeah, we're getting
Let's
the
do
nods.
it.
All right. Well, thank you to the panel, Steve Menzie, the owner of the expo. We got Mikey here, who's
Basically his grunt.
basically
Chairman of the board.
chief of staff,
Chief of
the
staff,
guy
that's
who
it.
makes the expo just kind of flow. We got my pal Ameet Acharya, who will be set up beside me as usual. And myself. Ameet, what's our booth numbers again? Sorry, 7.
I think it's 7:30, 7:31.
Yep.
7:30,
It is.
7:31. Come by and see us. Richie Barone will be at 3:19. And yeah, that's great. Yeah, we'll see y'all next week. I can't wait. It's Expo is upon us. Thank you, Mike Double V. Look forward to seeing you. Make sure, if we don't know each other already, make sure to introduce yourself. And that goes for everybody watching. Look forward to meeting everybody that we don't already know. I don't know. I think that's it. Let's end this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Get some rest. See you next week.
Only
All
20
right,
minutes over.
All right, boys.
Thanks, everybody. We'll see y'all at the expo.
You bet.